Welcome to the Malt Miller YouTube channel, Homebrewers, and this week I've made the journey to North Hampshire to come and visit one of the most exciting small breweries that's opened here in the UK in the last 2 years. Today, folks, we are at Maverick Brew Co. Now, the reason we've made the journey to see the team here at Maverick Brew Co is because their roots are firmly set within the homebrewing community. Martin, the founder, has been a homebrewer for well over 10 years and 18 months ago took the plunge after a few fortunate events and opened Maverick. And we've come here today to brew a beer with them called Drawing Pictures of Mountaintops, which Martin's given us the recipe for, and we're going to learn all about his journey from being a home brewer to a commercial brewer, and also this awesome beer that we're brewing today. So let's go inside, meet Martin, or Hod as he likes to be known, his colleague Charlie, and we're going to get on with the brew and learn everything we need to craft this beer at home ourselves. Hod, thank you so much for inviting us down here today to brew with you. First and foremost, this place is fantastic. You've really built something both that looks and feels like it functions, right? Well thought out, but also really, really warm and welcoming. So thank you so much for inviting us down. Really looking forward to brewing today.
It's absolutely my pleasure. I like to describe this place as my hobby that's got way out of hand. And it really has. When we got this place 18 plus months ago, we spent a lot of time designing exactly where everything was going to go, what we were going to use all the different space for. We built the brewery floor, me and a couple of guys, we built that up out of nowhere, designed the drainage, designed the layout, and with the tap room, here we are at the bar, with all the tap room space up there. And we just wanted it to be a fun, inviting space for people, kids, dogs, you name it, you're welcome here.
Well, it really does feel like that. So yeah, you should be really proud. But for everybody that is at home that maybe hasn't heard of Maverick Brew Co, tell us a bit about the brewery.
So the brewery's kind of born out of my, me being, out of my brainchild, out of being a not very good employee.
Yeah.
The name Maverick comes from the fact that I do like to do things my way.
Yeah.
I don't like being told what to do. So the best way for me to be able to do that was to open my own brewery. And with that, the whole point of the brewery and the business is to kind of show people that you can do anything.
Yeah.
If you got something that you love, that you really want to do, just go out and do it. Don't be afraid to be different, break those barriers, do all that crazy stuff and just have a great time.
For maybe everybody that doesn't know you, tell us a little bit about you. What do you do? Because your background isn't brewing. It was a hobby, like you said, that got out of hand.
Yeah, so actually my first brewing experience came when I was about 15, 16.
Yeah.
I was cleaning casks for a trad brewery many years ago, riding up to the brewery in my 50cc DT50, cleaning casks in the freezing cold and rain coming down sideways. But I then moved on from that and got an engineering apprenticeship.
Yeah.
And I learned my engineering trade, chemical and process engineering, working for a big worldwide food company. And then I moved on into specific process and control engineering, did a huge amount around working with some big breweries and some sort of processing industry stuff. And I kind of, like a lot of people, I fell into brewing, really, home brewing.
How long ago did you start home brewing then?
So I started home brewing probably about 14 years ago, 15 years ago. I blame my wife for all of this, by the way. She didn't know what to get me for one birthday.
Yeah.
And someone at her work said, get him a homebrew kit, good old Admiral homebrew kit, pressure barrel, made that, and then immediately, bing, I think I could make this better.
Yeah.
And down the rabbit hole I went, really. And
what a glorious rabbit hole it is.
I've met some amazing people.
Yeah.
Obviously hooked up with you guys, and the brewing industry is just the best industry to be in. You don't get anyone or any other companies where people are so friendly, welcoming and helpful. I've helped breweries out, but other breweries have helped me out massively in times of real need. But then we also run a homebrew club here as well. So once a month we have a homebrew club, got about 15, 16 members. And we set challenges every month. People go away and brew stuff, and you bring it in, and we try everyone's beers, and I kind of help give advice from a commercial perspective, and yeah, just kind of help, and I'll share recipes and ingredients with the guys if I've got spares as well. So it's great, and that's what I love about all of this.
Yeah, giving back, right?
100%.
To people that have helped you or communities that have helped you. You mentioned there about the Homebrew Club that you run here and that people come in and you give advice to and feedback and help them along the way. I just want to touch a little bit on a pivotal moment for you in your journey, because actually you kind of was spurred on by something that happened, right? With some people that we work really closely with.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about that whole story.
So the full story is, at that point of the homebrew competition we're talking about, I actually already owned a commercial brewery.
Right.
I owned the brewery that I have now.
Yeah.
It was in storage.
Yeah.
So I actually took delivery of the brewery that I have now.
So the equipment.
All the equipment.
Yeah.
In January 2020.
Yeah.
Just when we all were hearing there was something going on out in China, there was something, but nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
And I just spent a load of money on a brewery. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
All that equipment ended up going into storage.
Yeah.
It was in storage for probably best 2, nearly 3 years.
Yeah.
While that was going on, I was still homebrewing, because I love homebrewing and I still homebrew now, to be honest. And a few of my mates, so I'm really lucky in the sense that I've got 3 other guys that we've got together through the Homebrew Forum, and we've ended up over the years, probably 5, 6, 7 years now, all sharing beers. We homebrew beers, we send them to each other, critique them, we do a couple of brew offs and all this sort of stuff. We've got a little trophy we send between each other for, who wins all the brew offs and stuff. All about pursuit of getting better. And then one of them said, there's this homebrew competition coming up. It's not too far from you at Unity Brewing, and it's with a Hop Edition podcast. You should have enter to that. And I was like, I don't normally like entering competitions because it's brew to style, and I'm the Maverick and I don't like brewing to style. I like making the beers I like to make. Yeah, 100%. That's when I learned actually it was about best beer wins. Yeah. It was modelled on a beer, modelled on a general style, but you had to make the best version of that you could, or your own version. So I entered that competition and I won, which was a big surprise because I didn't enter into it with any aspirations at all. Yeah. And I remember getting the message from Owen from the Hop Edition when I was at home saying, we just finished the judging and you've won. So that was a real kind of kick on, I guess, really about actually I can make tasty beer that people like and people want to drink, and putting it in front of an audience that don't know you, or that don't have a particular affinity towards being kind to you, right? Yeah. That's really important. That's why homebrew competitions are vital, I think, for getting that independent feedback. 100%.
And learning about where you can improve, but winning something like that. And it was based on Conflux, right? That was the recipe that it was all kind of centered around, which I'm a big fan of that beer. We did some stuff with Jimmy around the same time as the competition where we focused on that, and they gave us a recipe for Conflux. So I'm a big fan of that beer, and seeing how the collaboration with the Hop Edition has really given you the confidence to go, well, I'm doing this now. I think that's fantastic. That leads us really nicely on then, because actually the beer we're brewing today is a version of that recipe, right? Yeah. Tell us about it. Tell us the name of the beer, your inspiration behind it, and what you think makes it really special. So this beer is, like I say, modelled on that framework of what Conflux was. 5% hazy, if you like. Loads of juice, and that's basically what it is. So it's extra pale malt, it's golden promise, it's flaked wheat. There's a bit of dextrin in there as well, a little bit of chit to get a bit of head retention, but it's also showcasing, definitely in the Whirlpool, a hop that I think doesn't get enough love, which is Azacca. Mate, I'm a big fan of Azacca. I absolutely love it, and for what I think it's kind of fallen out of favour a bit because you've got all those big hitters, lots of great New Zealand hops out now, which are epic, and we use them on quite a few of our beers. But Azacca I just love, so we use a load of that in the Whirlpool, and then some of that again goes into the dry hop with the other big hitters, Citra and Mosaic as well. Yeah, fantastic. And the name? Drawing Pictures of Mountaintops, named after a seminal song for me by my favourite band, Pearl Jam. Okay. I grew up in that period when the Seattle Sound and all those sort of bands were big, and that's just a song that's just always stuck with me really. FG is around, I think it's like 10-15, so it's not super juice, it's not super soft, and you'll notice with quite a lot of my beers,
I'm a big advocate in making beers drinkable.
Yeah.
So all of my beers across the whole range do have an underlying bitterness to them.
Yeah.
Whether they're, 6.5%, big juicy numbers, there is still a bitterness there. I'm a big believer that that bitterness keeps the drinkability.
Yeah.
I'm not keen on beers that are just a bit too cloying and sweet. So we kept that in pictures as well, or pictures as we shorten it to, and all the rest of the beers. So, and I try and balance that with the water as well. So the water, obviously, higher on chloride, so give that big, mouthfeel and everything. But it does have an underlying sulfate on it as well, just to really help, give it a snap, help the hops sing, but also balance that bitterness as well, just to really, like I say, it cleans your palate almost while you're drinking. And I'm not keen on beers that just kind of coat your tongue and you just kind of lose the flavours that you try so hard to put into it.
Yeah, nice. Well, I think we better crack on, haven't we? Because time's ticking on. We've got to get doughed in.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to getting stuck in and helping out with the brew day today. So let's head over to the mash tun and see what we can sort out.
Let's get it done.
So, Hod, we've doughed in, right? So tell us a bit about the grist for pictures.
So this beer, it's evolved quite a bit from when I was homebrewing it. The main element to this beer is that it's large part extra pale, but also my absolute most favourite malt in the world, Simpson's Golden Promise.
Oh, mate, it's such an amazing malt.
It just adds just a bready warmth, I think, to the beer, not only in the flavour, but the colour as well.
Yeah.
Up to this size, we're probably putting in 50 kilos in overall of a 220 kilo batch. So you can work that out percentage-wise if you like. Obviously, within this beer, we've also got some good old Golden Naked Oats in there, flaked wheat, and dextrin malt as well, just to add that little bit more body without adding sweetness, but also head retention as well.
Yeah, dextrin malt, chip malt, all of those malts that just give you that really crisp, fluffy head. Really nice pillowy, sat on top, so inviting.
I mean, brewers that I know, and I refer to chip malt as it's like the brewer's cheat, because as in with this one, I forgot to mention, there is actually 3 kilos of chip malt in this as well.
Brilliant.
Just to give it that extra head in the glass, because and then just to, all the way down the sides of the glass while you're drinking, it's just perfect.
We mashed in for a full hour, yeah?
Yeah, 60-minute mash.
Yeah.
When we were douging in and mashing in, we aimed to get that done in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
We're really lucky. I've recently been able to invest in a hydrator and an auger, which makes mashing in so much more civilized. Than a little less physical, so a little bit more civilized. Get it done in 30 minutes. That's always the target I aim for. Mainly for temperature stability. Strike water for us was 81.5, aiming for a mash temp 67.
Yeah.
I think when we took the final temperature about 67.4, we're taking that all day long.
What's 0.4 degrees between friends, right?
Exactly, yeah.
But what I did notice as well, it's November, right? So it's a bit chilly. You preheated the mash tun with probably 50 odd litres of hot water?
A bit more than actually. The dead space on this is quite big, so it's about 90 litres.
Yeah.
We calculate that and add that into the total mash liquor. We ended up, and this is always a little bit kind of playing it by ear, but actually we ended up about 70 litres short on the mash liquor, mainly because the grist composition looked good. It was nice and wet. Temperature was bang on.
Yeah.
So we'll just take that 70 and we'll just shift it across into the sparge.
Yeah.
The main thing to always, at this kind of size and even at homebrew level, is to keep that eye on that total volume.
Yes.
Because it's the total volume is what will give you your calculated SG.
Yeah, nice. All right, well, I guess we'll leave it for an hour, come back, do the sparge, and then we'll be getting on to hitting it up in the kettle.
Yeah, that's right. We've got a pH check to do. So we'll go away and do that now. Once we finish the mash, our timer will go off. We'll give it a bit of a vol off, so we'll get in there with a jug and just manually just jug it over, make sure we've got a really nice grain bed set. Then we'll start running off, get the sparge going, got the water heated to 77 degrees, and then we'll sparge it, get into the kettle and get the boil underway.
We've done with the mash, dug out the mash tun. Hopefully I didn't get too much malt everywhere.
We managed to clear all up afterwards, absolutely fine. You got it in all the bags eventually, so it's all good.
Boil's done as well, right?
Just finished the boil, and we are now just transferring into Whirlpool.
Okay, well, before we jump into what we're doing in here with the Whirlpool, tell us a little bit about your approach to hopping in the kettle.
So hopping in the kettle for this particular beer is teeny tiny. We're talking 50 grams has literally gone in.
What batch size are we brewing today?
With 10 hectolitres, so 1,000 litres.
Yeah.
So not much at all.
Yeah.
It's more for a couple of things. Is A, stops the boil over.
Yeah.
Drops that, drops the chances of foam coming out the top.
Breaks the surface tension.
All that sort of stuff, which can be really dangerous in the brewery as well, and particularly with the type of kit we've got with a smaller man weight.
Yeah.
You know, you can get some real beer fountains going on if you're not careful. And then as well, it aids a little bit to head retention in the final beer. We've done a few experiments with doing no boil hops and some, and we think we can definitely see a difference.
Yes. So you're not picking up much in the way of IBUs by that addition?
It's purely just to make sure we've got some IBUs in there before it comes along into the Whirlpool.
Yeah.
That's just all it's there for.
Right, and it was standard 60-minute boil, one addition. You also added some salts in at that point as well?
So some people do, some people don't. I prefer to not add all of my salt to my water profile into the mash.
Yeah.
I've done some experiments over the year, definitely in home brewing, and I find that, or at least I believe, that some salts gets left behind in the grain.
Yeah.
So what I like to do is use kind of half, 60% of all my salts in the mash, and then I put the rest in the boil direct.
Okay.
I've experimented over the years, and what I've found I'm really able to do is really dial that water in exactly where I want it.
Yeah.
So the water profile in that final beer, if I want it soft, dry, crisp, whatever. So that goes in with the 60-minute addition as well.
Certainly when I come to brew this myself, that's something I'm going to do, because I don't tend to do that. I will I'll do my mash additions, and then I'll add into my sparge. You're skipping that, treating the sparge water
straight into the boil. Straight into the boil. And then I'll even do any acidification I need to in the boil. So I'll check the pH for the boil, make sure I've got the pH I'm looking for, because obviously the pH follows all the way through. So you get the pH right in the mash, get it right in the kettle, it will follow all the way through to the final beer.
Actually, we haven't talked about this. What pH did you end up in with the mash?
So mash, I always aim for 5.4.
Yeah.
A little bit controversial, I know, for some people. At homebrew level, it's 5.2, 5.2.
Yeah.
Actually, 5.4 is that optimum window.
Yeah.
And that's generally always what I aim for. That then follows through into the kettle about 5.2, because obviously you lower the pH a bit by going through the boil.
Yeah.
Bit of hops. Then following through to the final beer, dependent on the beer style you're aiming for. Obviously, drier, crisper, lower pH, not sour territory. But you know, that's what you're aiming for.
All right, nice. Well, let's not actually jump into the
I wouldn't go in there, no.
It's a bit warm, right? But talk us through your approach for Whirlpool, because you've already talked about how you're using Azacca, Citra and Mosaic.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the proportions that are going into the Whirlpool and your approach to getting the most out of them.
So the Whirlpool for this beer is all Azacca. 100% Azacca, 2 kilos going into 10 hex. What we're doing at the moment is we're transferring from the kettle through the heat exchanger. We're knocking the work down to 78 degrees, just like you would at home in your homebrew kit with your coil chiller. And we'll get it into there. We'll then use our separate Whirlpool pump, you know, like you would have at your homebrew kit, tangential arm, get the thing spinning. We'll then drop the hops into there.
Yeah.
We'll continue to let that spin for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And we'll then stop the pump and we'll just let it spin and rest for about 20.
Right, okay, yeah.
We found that if you go straight into transfer, you're going to pick more hot particles up because they're in suspension, right? The thing is still spinning. You need to let the Whirlpool do the job it's designed to do.
Yeah.
That cone in the middle.
Leaving it to sit is so important, because you are letting not only hops, but any hop break that's maybe carried over, shrub, anything, just settle out. So you transfer, I know we're making a hazy beer, but you're transferring clean beer from the Whirlpool then into the FV.
Yeah, and by doing that as well, you're avoiding blocking any filters you might have. We've got a hop seed filter here. You avoid blocking that. Once that gets blocked, your transfer times start to exceed.
Yeah.
And as we're about to talk about, transfer time is really important.
It is. So, yeah, that is really important. So we've already said that you're going to spin for about 15 minutes, then you're going to leave it to rest for 20. And then importantly, how long is it going to take you to transfer that 1,000 litres from the Whirlpool vessel into
the FV? So it's going to be about 70 minutes. So it's quite a long time. There's a lot of liquid to get chilled down to. We'll probably aim for about 19 degrees, 19 and a half. we've got a cold liquor tank. We're really lucky, so we're able to chill that down to 4 degrees. That gives us a lot of ability to really chill it hard and get that transfer. But that contact time of the hops in the Whirlpool is really important. We're almost happier to sacrifice something to get the right contact time.
Yes.
So actually we'll tweak it a little bit because we'll know roughly where we are on volumes for times. We'll tweak how hard we cool it so we get enough contact time, because this is where we're getting all of our bittering from.
Yes, yeah, so many of you
coming
are
from
picked
here.
up out of there, but also so much of that aroma that carries over, which is really what we're focusing on here as well.
Yeah.
And you know, you love Azacca, so you want it to show up in the glass.
100%, yeah. And you know, as we're transferring across here, 77, 78 is just enough to get the isomerization, to get the bitterness out, but also you're not going to be losing the volatiles. So you're keeping that flavour, that pine juiciness that Azacca just has in spades, which is great, but a really good solid bitterness behind it. You know, the apparatus in it are on that slightly higher end.
Yeah. So all told, we're looking at about 90 minutes then from starting the Whirlpool to shutting the Whirlpool off.
100%.
So again, if you're brewing this recipe at home, factoring that into your brew day is really important to try and get as close as possible to your commercial example of the beer.
I would, from my homebrewing experience, what I would do is I would look at, because you already know with your homebrew kit how long it takes you to chill it.
Yep.
So what I would look at doing is actually do that hop stand to get that time period you want.
Yeah.
Then chill it, then transfer it. Then you're hitting that whole window.
Yeah.
Rather than just trying to guess and chill it a bit and do it really slowly. That's what I would do. It's, you know, you're putting all this time and love into something you're making, you know, give it the best possible chance you can. Follow that recipe, and hopefully out the other side you'll get a really, really nice beer.
Yeah, well, I'm certain this one will be. Should we crack on and get these 2 kilos of Azacca into the Whirlpool?
Definitely.
Pod, we're done with the Whirlpool, right?
All done. We're transferring into the tank as we speak.
Let's have a little chat about yeast then. So we're using WHC saturated?
Correct, yeah. I've got the full wet pitch, so fresh yeast, literally delivered yesterday straight from Ireland for a 10 hectolitre batch.
Nice. So what is it about saturated that you love?
Oh, I mean, it's just the glycerol it leaves behind. It's, I mean, essentially it's derived from the London Ale3 strain, so it leaves loads of sugars, sweetness behind. It's the glycerol that just gives you all that big, smooth, juicy mouthfeel. Plus, if you ferment it a little bit harder, a little bit warmer, you can actually get some of those esters out of it as well, which is perfect.
So how are you going to be treating this? What temperature are we fermenting at?
So we're casting it up and knocking it out to 19 degrees into the fermenter. We'll pitch the yeast. What I tend to do is I don't like to let my yeast run away too early. There's a little bit of a lag with this strain, so 36 hours you should start to see activity. I measure start of activity, obviously because I've got the ability to take samples, on pH drop. So I use that to know that the yeast is doing its job rather than seeing the airlock go. Because over those 24, 36 hours, you'll see it drop from 5.1. Once you get below 4.8, you're in the safe zone, so you know you're off. So we'll let it get going like that for probably 2 days. I'll then knock it up 0.3, 0.4 degrees over that sort of 3 to 4 day period.
So each day?
Yeah, each day. And then what I do for temperature control is I'll raise it up to 21 degrees and I'll just let the yeast go as high as it wants to, because obviously it's at the end, I'm taking gravity readings. When I know I've got 15, 20 points left, I'll just put the maximum temperature control to 21 and just let it free rise, let it do its diacetyl rest. And then we'll then see it obviously then starts to chill out and kind of know it's finished.
Okay, well, you know, one thing we're not going to be able to capture today then is like your dry hopping regime and how you approach doing that. So you hit your de-rest, you get through that. That's maybe, what, 7 to 8 days from pitch?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, if you were brave and in a rush, you would probably push it 5, 6 days. Because I like to focus more on the quality of the beer, I like to give it the yeast the full chance to finish doing its job. So 7 to 8 days. Once we know, we do a couple of little checks, do a bit of a sensory check, make sure we're happy with how it's finished.
Yeah.
Then we'll then start thinking about dry hopping.
And where do you go with that? So at what point are you adding the hops? Are you cooling? What do you do for this recipe?
For this particular recipe, and probably most of our beers, so we let the beer finish, go through its de-rest. We then soft chill, loads of different words for it, but chill it down to between 13 and 14 degrees, 24 hours usually it takes to get down. After that point, we'll then go into dry hopping.
Okay, right. And once you've added the hops, what do you do after then?
So obviously we've got lovely big conical tanks here, so a little bit of an advantage. So what I like to do is we add the dry hops.
Yeah.
Usually leave it for 24 hours.
Yeah.
After that, I then come in and then I call it rumbling.
Yeah.
I attach CO2 to the bottom of the cone.
Yeah.
And then I'll run CO2 through the FB for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Just to make sure I've got a really good turn. Go away, and I'll probably do that again the day after.
Okay, so you're browsing the hops twice. Over a 48-hour period.
Yeah, and actually, true contact time for me for dry hopping is only 4 days.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm a firm believer that actually it's diminishing returns after that.
Yeah.
And because of some of the larger dry hops, you start to leave it that long, then you're going to start getting grassy flavours and all that sort of stuff out of the hops. So I like to get them in, get them turned over, get the most out of them, then get them off the beer as soon as possible.
Nice.
We'll just get this finished. We'll get the rest of the beer in. We've still got a bit more cleaning to go. Brewing is cleaning.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm
and
happy
then
to chip in.
Well, this is it. We get the lovely job of emptying out the Whirlpool, right?
Yep.
So there's 2 kilos of Azacca in the bottom of that Whirlpool. This place will smell amazing when we dump that on the floor, I promise you. And then we'll get this yeast in there. We'll get it sealed up. We've set the chilling, we've set the temperature. And then, 36 hours time, we should be bubbling away quite nicely. Give us another few weeks and we should have this beer coming out for the rest of the world.
Well, look, Hod, we are done, right? Yeast is in the tank, the beer's been transferred over. I can't wait to hear how it's gone. But we are joined now by Charlie. Now, Charlie is a really important person here, right?
Yeah, all around operations legend.
Yeah.
That just keeps stuff going. While we've been chatting and messing about and doing silly stuff and doing all this recording malarkey, this guy has been taking orders, doing deliveries, keeping an eye on temperatures for me, and just generally kind of keeping the lights on.
Charlie, we wouldn't have been able to do today without you, so thank you very much. Tell us a bit about you and your journey here with Maverick and what you're doing to help Hod fulfill his dream.
Yeah, I saw Hod open up Maverick about 18 months ago and just came and said, I want to get involved in any way possible. Basically, I'll do whatever to try and make your life easier and get involved. And keen to get involved with any area of brewing. So I'm sort of operations manager at the moment, and that involves booking events and food for the tap room, and then also get involved in brew days, doing sales, deliveries, all sorts of things really.
Because you have a really vibrant community around you that come to the tap room for all of the events that you put on, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I've seen it on socials and it looks like such an awesome time. I can't wait to come here on a Saturday, right?
You're always welcome, always welcome. Food trucks and music on a Saturday, right? It's what it's all about.
Great times, and brewing in the morning, right?
Exactly, yeah. We like to start early, start early.
So, yeah, I think it's really good that you're here helping Hod do this because you're still working full time, right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So having somebody that you can trust and rely on and that's doing such a great job, it's absolutely vital.
I mean, all the food trucks we get, all the artisan food manufacturers, all the amazing independent artists we get, are all down to this man. He goes out, finds them, vets them, books them, organises it. You know, I couldn't ask for anything more.
And also, I guess in return, also paying you, but also in return, Hod, you're teaching Charlie how to homebrew, right?
I think what always makes me laugh is going from commercial brewing back to home brewing, volumes and measures. It's like, that's 5 grams. Really, that much? So that's always fun. But yeah, no.
How you been finding the homebrew?
Yeah, good. I started over lockdown with just an instant kit from Whirlpool Co.
Yeah.
Plastic bucket in the airing cupboard. And now I'm using the Braumeister, which is a good step up. And it's interesting seeing how it all works on the big kit compared to the Braumeister, and how it all scales up and down is really interesting.
Nice.
Yeah,
and Hod said to me that there are rumours afoot of a tap being fitted in the tap room that's going to be yours to fulfil from the Braumeister, right?
That's the plan, yeah.
Yeah, no, just a little bit of a challenge there, right? They'll turn into the best sellers, and before you know it, you'll be brewing them on the.
Oh yeah, 100%. Right? Now he'll outstrip me in no time at all. No time at all. But no, it's just that, you know, I'm really passionate about homebrewing because it's my background, it's where I've come from.
Yeah.
You know, we've got the Homebrew Club here, you know, it's just a small amount we can do to that, and as well, show the people that come in the tap room actually how good can homebrew be.
Yeah.
You know, there's some amazing homebrewers out there, as you guys have seen, making some absolutely amazing beer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to showcase that in here and you know, give Charlie an opportunity to, you know, stretch his legs and show us what kind of beers he can make.
I can't wait. I'm going to make sure that when we get down here, you've got a beer on, because I want to try it, right? Well, look, that about wraps up our day together, and I have absolutely loved coming.
It's been great having you here. We've had a ball.
Just tasting the beers that you're putting out from this, what on the face of it feels like a really small outfit, but with such meticulous detail, such care and attention to the ingredients, the processes, it's no wonder the beers taste absolutely stunning.
I try to be as happy with the beers I make as I possibly can. I'm an eternal critic, but you know, I'm glad you enjoyed it. We've loved having you here, and we always love people coming, showing them around and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's what we're all about. You know, when we're open, come and see us and come and say hi. Now,
importantly, if you want to brew this recipe, there's a link in the description below, but if you want to try the commercial beer, when's that going to be available?
So we're brewing this beer this week. We're hoping to be going into cans early December. We've been canning some other beers. We've got some other beers we're going to be brewing, and our web shop will be opening in early December, just in time for Christmas. So you'll be able to order this beer, drawing pictures of mountaintops, contours, sunny, and a special beer called Wonderment on our web shop. So keep your eyes open, follow us on social media. We'll tell you when it's open, and you'll be able to get that beer delivered to you. And I want to hear about on social media, I want to see pictures of people that have brewed that beer.
Yeah.
Tag us in it, and I want to see your comparison with ours against the homebrew that they'll be able to get from you guys.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm certainly going to be doing that myself.
Awesome.
Now, there's links again in the description below, so you can check out Maverick's website and also follow them on socials, all right? Now, don't forget, if you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you're not already, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell for notifications so you can stay up to date with all the projects we're doing at Malt Wheeler HQ, whether it's something like this that we've done today, learning from people that are passionate and talented brewers, or just any of the other topics about homebrewing you want. Also, if you've got any questions, comments or feedback, drop them down in the comments below and we will get back to you. As ever, have a great brew.